All right. Welcome to DOSE, Department of Solar Energy Q&A, question and answer for Hearth Energy. We've got Al, your solar pal, with me, and he's going to be asking some pretty common sense questions that I did not think of. Al, let me read it for you first. What we're talking about: in a world of global wireless power transmission, how do we design residential solar systems to arbitrage for time of use credits?
Yeah, when I read that, what comes up to me, is like I think about Nikolai Tesla, right? Is that what you're referring to when you're talking about wireless energy transmission?
Yes. So basically, you're right, 100%. So this technology already exists. It's over 100 years old. From my perspective, it's a done deal technically. It's only politics holding us back. So this has already come out. I'm sure everyone's heard about the pyramids and that there's structures underneath. No surprise, at least to me, I'm sure to everybody else. So the question is do you agree, or do you think this is a conspiracy in any way?
Conspiracy? No, I would say it's a theory. I mean, I've seen videos of people transmitting power from different states to a different state, so I don't think it's an impossible thing. Is it?
Different states. I just want to push back on that real
Yeah,
quick. Because I've seen NASA have do it for about a mile or two in the 70s, and we
yeah,
have wireless charging.
yeah. There's a guy on TikTok. He's knows. The name rang a bell. If you give me a little bit of time, I can
No,
probably
no, no,
pull
no,
it
no.
up.
I just was wondering what.
So he probably will be known. Your guest will probably know who I'm talking about.
Okay,
He's a younger guy and he dresses up like he's from the 40s,
okay.
and or let's say 30s. Nikolai Tesla, whatever era Nikolai Tesla came
I
from,
see.
he dresses like that, and he has his own Tesla coil in his garage in his backyard,
Got it.
and he transmitted a blinking light from where he lives in Georgia to Colorado.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that probably is referring to the same thing. So what I'm referring to is something that is not technically complicated, but it's been suppressed, and the patents are out there, and they've been classified. And so, as
Yeah.
far as I've heard, some of these have been unclassified now, and so this tech is actually going to come out,
Yeah.
and so we need just to promote it politically. So, what other? I mean, you had before, you had some pretty basic questions
Yeah.
about it. How it would work with solar. So the whole idea is, this how does this pertain to solar? Is because you need power generation if you're going to start trading energy.
Yeah, so I was like, then what you brought up is the way I'm thinking is why. First question I brought up was why would we need solar if we can transmit energy?
Right. So we do already have power plants. Yes, they can absolutely still provide power. It's just it's an increased cost. The rates are going up, and so half of the price you're paying for your energy is in its transmission in these power lines, which have a certain efficiency rating. A lot of people argue are inefficient. As far as I understand, technically, the wireless power transmission is actually more efficient. And so, if we can maybe through the CPUC regulate this efficiency to make sure that it is always at the end product always higher than the power lines, why would we not do this, right? So, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, it's something we use in the solar industry, right? It's I break down their bill and I show them how much they're paying for transmission and how much they're paying for delivery charges, right? And,
Distribution
and
and
distribution
great.
and yeah, you know what I mean. You've done it before,
You're
but
making me forget the word.
yeah. So yeah, it's distribution and
Generation.
generation. Yeah,
Generation.
there you go. So I kind of break that down and I kind of explain to the customer, would you pay something for 20, would you buy something on Amazon for $25 and pay $50 for it to have it delivered, right? No one would do that.
Exactly.
So that's how I kind of pitch solar. You're creating your own energy yourself, and you're it's like your own mini power plant.
Right.
But I look into what you're talking about with the free transmission. So would that allow people who create solar energy to also distribute that energy wirelessly?
So that's the whole point.
Okay.
So exactly the point is why residential solar is relevant. So if we look here, a little drawing of a typical house, how would this even look? Tesla was using, and of course, like the pyramids, they're using a kind of a monolithic structure, an obelisk. Now, it doesn't need to be that it doesn't need to be that structure, but it does need some of those properties. So basically a flagpole with the metal sphere at the end. So you really wouldn't change the environment that much. I'm sure not many people would have a problem installing a flagpole in their side yard or backyard, right? If you already have solar.
Here's a question I want to bring up.
Absolutely.
Why do you think Edison thought it was better to build power lines across the world than it was to actually transmit it?
Yeah, greed. The simple answer is greed,
Okay.
right? Just like we just need money.
Well, why couldn't he just take control of transmitting that power and selling it? Is it just the control of the energy, not being?
Your answer to the question right there is control, right? It's all about control. It's all about power control and politics, right? The technology is there. So, I mean, we're at this point where it's all about to come through. Look at AI. AI is advancing so quickly that you honestly can't keep up with it. We're going to benefit, but there's going to be a painful transition. And as far as I can tell, this is going to be one of those transition points. So let's look at some of the topics. So the first topic, smart energy storage for time of use optimization.
Yeah, and we have that in the solar industry. We use batteries for that.
Right.
So I wouldn't. So what if? Yeah. Another question I asked you was, then why not just put a battery on every house and transmit let them. But yeah, I get the understanding is generating that power is important first, right?
Right, you need to generate the power and then you can transmit it. So yeah, you can have a battery. I don't know if there's going to be an upfront cost. Maybe there's a lease, maybe there's a loan associated with getting this obelisk, right? Yeah. Don't actually know what the economics of it are yet because this has been suppressed for so long.
Well, since the power is going to be transmitted, does that mean we don't need batteries anymore?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Now, the reality is the whole idea, I really want to skip to the number two. Let's answer that question by bringing up number two. Number two topic is dynamic grid participation with wireless power markets, right? So if we're going to have actually a global wireless power transmission market, and the power, the system has to be safely global, which means that no one can interfere with it, but it can still be distributed at a shorter distance. That doesn't mean you can't trade globally, okay? So the question is would a battery be sufficient for global trade? I don't know, and these are the questions that we want to investigate. That's why we're having this Q&A, right? These are pretty straightforward.
Transmitting power, affecting the human body. This is stuff that I would love to get into. I mean, why wouldn't it affect it?
Because this is so there's, I don't want to get too conspiratorial, but this is ancient technology, right? The argument is that the pyramids all around the world were doing this for the same purpose, really for med beds. And there's other reasons I don't want to bring up here. But the idea is that no, actually, it's the opposite. It was done for health. It's not against health. So, yeah.
I mean, the reason why I bring that up, right? 5G going directly into your phone.
Right.
That's kind of a wireless technology that's, usually when you hear wireless, you're hearing like something affecting the median of the
here's the catch. Here's the problem. Let me bring up one parallel is
stealing power.
Well, it's free. So this is why you can't steal it. The transmission is free. Everyone has to agree. We can't have war. We have to have peace on Earth, at least when it comes to, I know it's such a crazy statement, but in this respect, it's true. That we can't, there are weapons that can interfere with this, okay? All right, there are already weapons that can interfere with us electromagnetically. And it's no different from this. If there's an adversary that wants to destroy your obelisk, I can't say that it won't happen. But that's also true for your solar panels. That's also true for your battery, your electric car, which will go up so quickly like fireworks you can't believe. So this does have a very small safety concern. But honestly, that's because people are going to be interfering, not because of the technology itself.
So you're just saying there's going to be a period that we're going to have to go through before we get what we need. There's going to be a little disturbance.
When
for
there's going to be a large disturbance to get to the point where we're going to use this, and it's coming this year. So this is where I'm coming from with that. Should we go on to the next topic? Number 3, blockchain and smart contracts for energy transactions. I think that's pretty
why do
straightforward.
we need transactions if it's free? There you go.
The transmission is free,
Okay.
right?
Is the energy?
But the energy, that's why you have solar,
Gotcha.
right? That's why would you just have a battery, right? The energy is not free. The production of the energy is not free, just the trading of it. Just like when we have the burn for Ethereum and Bitcoin, you have that burn rate for the miners. This is the same thing. There is a small little bit of inefficiency, and so there is a burn rate, but overall you need to produce it in the first place. Number 4, AI-driven load balancing and demand forecasting. It's pretty obvious this is going to be run automatically. We're going to have AI doing that. And then here's probably the most interesting aspect is people aren't thinking about is personalized energy contracts. Everyone is going to have their own rate plan. And it's not really a plan. It's a personalized energy contract.
Kind of like what you would call a PPA in solar. It's different for everybody because of sun hours and efficiency of the panels, right?
Well, you could say, yeah, that's more about production, but this is going to be about trading itself, right? Because we're going to assume you're right. You're going to have different times you produce more, especially, we'll just say the United States, because of time zones. We all know about the duck curve. You produce more energy in the midday and obviously none at night. And so, yeah, that would be a great example for solar, right? But this is all the idea that you have to produce energy to really participate effectively in this. So those are the 5 topics. Any other questions, Al?
No, these are all interesting. I hear what you're saying, and let's see if we can get this on a bigger scale, like you said.
It actually starts from the large scale down to the individual. So this is one of those things that we need to get together as a people. It's a political choice, not a technical one.
We need to get into the diaspora or the
solar diaspora. That is true. The solar diaspora.
FreeEnergyDiaspora.com.
Very good. And remember, I can give you a free solar quote. Al as well, except the difference is I charge a $750 retainer fee refunded after PTO because these projects are ridiculous.
And I do it for absolutely for free. You get $750 when you.
Yeah, he's going to pay you $750 and I will refund you back the $750. And the difference is because where money goes, energy flows. Stay tuned for the next podcast.